back at you, my friends. Yes, it's Senator James Sanders Jr. trying to get to the truth of the thing. Our search for the truth leads us in many places. Aren't you tired of a world where you can't get an honest answer to an honest question? Where you're just trying basically to get some basic understanding, and people will lead you everywhere but the truth. Well, we have dedicated this show to that simple proposition that the truth is out there and we can get to it. The show is called Let's Be Clear, and I'm New York State Senator James Sanders Jr., and we're going to be clear about opioids. Now, if there's ever a subject to be clear about, that, my friends, is one that you're going to bet your life on. So, but first, we got a local legend in our own midst, and this is the son of a local legend. This is Thomas White Jr., who's going to take us for a moment to say who was his father and why is he legendary, not simply in Southeast Queens, but in New York City. Brother White, good to see you again.
Thank you, Senator Sanders, for this opportunity to be a part of a very important conversation in our community. Substance abuse and needed services to combat addiction and help for those that are victims of an overdose. My name is Bryan White. I'm the president and CEO of the Thomas White Jr. Foundation. And as you know, we have a program in our community known as the Queens Village Committee for Mental Health for JCAP programs, which stands for Jamaica Community Adolescence Program. And the program has been in existence for over 50 years. It began as a mental health support service by Mr. Morris Pressman, the first executive director. Sometime after my father, Thomas White, introduced the JCAP program model to the organization that dealt with drug abuse at the height of the heroin crisis in New York back in the 70s, and specifically in South Jamaica. Both men incorporated and established a program that identified drug addiction as a mental health issue. My father's vision was to have a local community program he lived in to address the problem. At first, JCAP started in the storefront and was an educational provider on substance abuse. They would go into schools and invite teens to speak at group discussions. They work with the Board of Education and narcotic speakers bureaus. After the passing of Mr. Pressman, my father became the executive director of JCAP in 1971. The program grew to a direct treatment center under his leadership. And JCAP offered and still offers substance abuse treatment, family counseling, vocational and educational services, outpatient alcohol prevention group services, and other community services. JCAP grew from one storefront to 5 sites in Queens under his leadership over the years. And as you know, Senator, in 1993, JCAP built its first full-service treatment facility in Jamaica, New York itself, the community that you serve and part of your district. And they named this clinic after my grandparents, the Thomas and Marie White Health Center, after my grandparents and my father's parents. And over the years, JCAP has saved approximately 20,000 souls from addiction. Of those people that went through the JCAP program, many have gone on to help others in the field of social work as a profession and worked in substance abuse treatment centers, including JCAP, and continue to pass along their experiences and triumphs over addiction. You know, it's interesting that, as I go through the community, I'm always meeting people that are telling me that have gone through JCAP that my father saved their life, changed their lives. And it's an honor for me to hear that to know that my own responsibility is to continue the legacy. My father's legacy after his passing in 2010 has been and still is in the people's lives he changed and saved. He and my grandmother, Marie, who was on the board, and she's 100 years old now, Senator, she's still alive. But they were used to say that JCAP was about people helping people. People helping people. That's what JCAP is about. And we're glad to hear that the program is still thriving in the community and that we have a responsibility to continue the legacy that Mr. Pressman and my father and those that have worked with JCAP over the years continues to be a vital institution in our community.
Thank you, sir. Much respect to you and your family, especially to your, I think you said 18-year-old, or was it 100-year-old? Well, tell her she's not 18. And ask her why she told me she was only 21.
Did she?
So I appreciate. I went with your father to Jerusalem, and we had a great time there at the Wailing Wall and other places.
Do you still have the pictures from that?
I will look. I will look, sir. When we speak, we're going to try to focus this program on the opioid addiction, the other pandemic that we are being hit with, of people having to try to cope with an opioid addiction. But first things first, Dr. Collymore, what is opioids? What are opioids? Is it one thing? Is it 100 things? And what does it do?
Sure. Great question. Good afternoon to all. Thank you, Senator Sanders, for the opportunity to have this conversation. Thank you to Mr. White for the legacy that you're continuing to uphold. Just briefly before I get into the sort of the definition and the science of opioids, it's truly an honor for me to serve as the Chief Medical Officer of JCAP and of the Acacia network, of which JCAP is an affiliate. I consider myself a son of the soil. I was raised in South Jamaica, Queens, 172nd Street, a block off of Jamaica Avenue. So Senator Sanders, thank you for all that you have done for our community. I believe we actually shared a table. I think we sat at the same table for the retirement banquet for Reverend Dr. Arthur W. Davenport a few years ago. A tremendous leader who's been a tremendous impact on my life. And he's good friends with my father, Reverend Dr. Charles C. Collymore. I still worship in Southeast Queens in Laurelton, and have the pleasure of serving as the executive pastor of the United Community Church of God. So shout out to all my United family. And it's really an honor to be able to serve medically and to bring something back to the streets where I was raised. I used to get my hair cut when I had hair up on Jamaica Avenue. But I used to buy my sneakers from the Coliseum and from Gertz Mall. So I have nothing but fond memories, and come back here. I'm here at least every Sunday in church, but I'm always, every opportunity I get, I'm back in the community. But we're here to talk about opioids.
Well, let me stop you for a second and say, I know your parents well, sir. Outstanding people. I've actually been to your house too. Now, if anybody else chimes in and says that they got a story and I'm in it, I must have gone through all of the good stories that you could tell. The rest would be downhill from here. So if you have a story and it doesn't put me in a good light, don't tell it, my friend. Don't tell it.
I don't know if that exists, but
Right.
But again, thank you for all the.
They exist, but I'm grateful that we won't tell it today. But tell me what opioids are, sir.
Right. So opioids are a class of drugs that are derived from a naturally occurring plant, the opium plant. They exist in several forms, and in some forms that have been used to treat pain, and some forms that unfortunately have been misused and abused and have led to addiction in individuals. So opioids are a class of medications that have a place medically, but have to be very much controlled in that setting so that it does not lead to addiction and to abuse. And when misused externally outside of a medical establishment, have led to significant mortalities, has led to significant economic devastation of families and of communities. I think, a lot of attention has been paid towards the subject of overdose deaths, particularly as we've seen in 2020, a significant increase. So in July of this year, the CDC released data that we in 2020 are anticipated to have had at least close to 100,000 deaths from overdose. And 70% of those are due to opioid-related overdoses. So opioids are the basis of the addiction pandemic that we are experiencing. And I'm honored to be part of an organization that is saving lives, transforming lives, and saving generations of families. So excited to share this panel with you, with Mr. White, and with these three wonderful young men that are currently at JCAP that truly are in a position to really change the world. They can reach their peers and lead change in the communities where they're from and the communities where they are now. And I'm excited about their future. And that's the reason why I'm so passionate about the work that we do.
Well, how does one tell when they are having a opioid overdose? So what are the symptoms? How do you know yourself, or can you? And is there anything that we can do about it?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And I always, I've been asked that question before. I always tell folks, to speak on what it feels like to have an overdose, that can only come from someone that's been through that. But from the medical standpoint, opioid receptors are receptors that are on the brain. And when opioids are within the body and they consume and overwhelm and fill those receptors, that's when it leads to overdose. So some of the signs, I would say, some of the things to look for in someone that may possibly be having an overdose. Usually there's a significant amount of drowsiness, some level of confusion, and the ultimate sign in which we need to interact and intervene medically is respiratory depression. They have a slowed breathing rate, and that ultimately is what leads to death from the overdose. And I know we're going to get to talking about the Naloxone and Narcan a little later on, but that's what saves the lives of the individuals that are overdosing and allows them the opportunity to transform their lives one more time.
My. Well, you had said a little earlier that the only person who could tell you about this is a person who has experienced these things, while you have a great deal of knowledge. They have empirical evidence, the knowledge of experience. And we are going to go into that, my friends. Let's see. Saqib, did I say it right, my brother? Did I say that decent?
Yes, Senator Sanders, how you doing?
I'm amazed that I can do it. I'm gonna mess everybody up, man. Y'all work with me. I'm from Southeast Queens too, so y'all work with me. Saqib, tell me of your experience, man. Tell me of life.
So I'll begin like since the age of 7. I'll go from the start because addiction started for me at the age of 7, not physically, but mentally because of the physical abuse, whatnot, and then the trauma that I could not deal with. So 2 years later, I moved out of the country, Pakistan, where I was born, to New York. Then I had some other trauma, then joining gangs, self-harm. Then came the women, multiple partners, and then came the drugs, But so I never really truly worked on the problems I had and the trauma, so I masked it up. And in my phase of addiction, I have overdosed about 7 times, and twice in one day they picked me up in Brooklyn, New York, Maimonides Hospital. I seen that I still had the drugs on me. I left the hospital, overdosed again. The same ambulance with the same females have picked me up, and they were just like, wow, you're very fortunate that you survived. And then this time initially I did not have the IV, so I still went to the bathroom and I snorted. So my addiction has took me from driving like a beautiful car, having a nice job, being married, to losing it everything and living in a shelter and sleeping in the Q train and the F train. And honestly, that's like one of the best things that happened to me because I went to JCAP afterwards. After the shelter, I went to Arms Acres, then I went to JCAP, and it was the best thing that have ever happened to me in my life. And I am a peer advocate now. I'm a recovery coach, basically certified. And I want to thank Mr. Thomas White Jr. because of Mr. Thomas White Sr., enabling us to follow our passion and truly recognize our potential, and we can help our peers. And I want to thank you as well for allowing me to share. Thank you.
Well, well, on behalf of everybody, we're really glad that you're here, man. We certainly could use you with us rather than back to judgment or whatever. But as you were pointing out, so you were in search of an addiction, that you had problems searching for an addiction, and how common is this, sir?
Well, I was basically looking for myself. Yes, so the addiction helped me unlock the true potential. I was fortunate enough, and all thanks to my higher power, that those 7 times could have took me out. I got scars in the front, in the back. The amount of times I overdosed, and Dr. David Collymore just mentioned earlier, like blurred vision, slurred speech, confusion. There's times that people will be scared of me. Like the neighborhood I come from, everybody knew that I was using, because when I am going into an overdose mode, I would scream, I would act erratically just so I could take control. But I didn't realize I'm speaking in tongues and whatnot just to stay leveled. But that made me still overdose. And I tried whatnot to maneuver around it, but it was meant to be, and just blacked out. It's just instant blackout. As soon as you use, you don't remember. I don't remember anything. All I remember is waking up in the hospital or in the ambulance. And Narcan has saved my life plenty of times. In multiple occasions, I was Narcaned up to 3 to 5 times in one go, because I was unresponsive, because it was not heroin, it was fentanyl, which is 10 to 100 times stronger than heroin.
So Daniel, tell me about it, man. How did your life lead you here, or not living it lead you here?
Good afternoon, Mr. Senator. As long as I could remember as a young kid, I was always addicted to something. First it started with sports, then it went to women, and I'm from a very good family, but alcohol addiction and alcohol addiction also runs in my family. Drug addiction and alcohol addiction. My mother, willingly is coming up on 42 years this year, actually, clean and sober. And I also lost my father 7 years ago to the disease of addiction. And it was
sorry
a tough.
to hear that, sir.
Thank you. It was tough because my father was like my hero figure. And I watched a man going from a workaholic that'll give you the shirt off his back to a guy sleeping in the streets, and me getting phone calls that he was getting put in an ambulance again, comas. But as for me, I actually started drinking late. I was really into sports. I was very good in sports. I had the option to go try out for minor league ball clubs, and I broke a growth plate in my ankle, and all of a sudden it all turned from there. I was prescribed oxycodone, and in the beginning it was I was taking it for the pain, and then once I realized that that you could feel a certain way if you take a couple more, it took off from there, and then it was the sickness, like when you don't have it, you're sick, so you need more. And I graduated up to the higher milligrams and fentanyl patches, and it was pretty ugly. And at 25 years old, I remember I was out with my friends and we were sitting in the car around the corner from my house, and I started feeling very weird and like Dr. Collymore was sharing about drowsy and shortness of breath. And I walked out of the car, and so I didn't even say nothing to my friends. And I got to the corner of my house, and something told me call the ambulance. And thank God I did, because I called the ambulance, and next thing I know is the ambulance picks me up, and the last thing I hear is we're losing them. And that was the last thing I heard. And I woke up in the hospital the next day, and all I did was ask for my belongings, and I wanted to leave because I felt sick and I just wanted to get that next bag. I didn't care. I was at a part of my life where I also have two beautiful daughters home, and missed a lot of time with them because of addiction and alcohol addiction. This last run, I'll tell you a little bit about. Actually, with the opioid addiction, I actually stopped that 7 years ago. I've been clean from opioids for 7 years right now. And but my next addiction was alcohol and cocaine, and I took off with that. And I'll be honest, about 3 months ago, prior to coming in here, I've been here 3 months. I've been clean, and 3 months prior to that, I tried to take my life twice because of the depression and just no hope, And I don't know what happened, but I was in the psych ward one day, and I woke up, and something just told me, like, I just felt that little bit of hope that things could get better. And so I told the counselor there, and I said, listen, I need to find a program. And they told me about JCAP. And since I've been here, I'll be honest with you, this program it's saved my life. I'll be honest with you. Like, I could get emotional thinking about it, because a lot of the counselors here do want to help me, and all of the staff, I'll be honest with you, all the way down to the kitchen crew. As of now, I got my daughters back in my life, and
go for it.
Be searching for work. I actually love myself today. I don't have to walk looking down at the ground. I can make eye contact, and I'm helping the newcomers that are coming in, the newer clients, to just help them, just to let them know that there's hope out there, and that we can get this right, and help the younger generation, because I would never want my worst enemy to go through what I went through. And but thank God I prevailed, and I'm just so grateful. Thank you, Mr. White, Mr. Collymore, and Senator. Yeah, it's thank God. That's all I could say. I have another shot, and I'm gonna run with it. Thank you.
Well, all I know is, there but for the grace of God go I. That one or two, if I had got caught in one or two places, it'd just be switched. We'd be switched around. Mm-hmm. There's nothing magical. It's just God looking out and catching us at a different time. And I'm very grateful that He caught you. Now you need to let Him hold you, brother. But let me get back to you. I'll go with you, Dr. Collymore. What is this drug that we heard of once or twice that can help save folk from the dead when they're on this?
Yeah, so naloxone, or the intranasal form that we refer to as Narcan, is a lifesaver. We've seen it save lives. I personally administered it and seen it transform and save lives. It works. If you see it in action, it's almost miraculous at times to come upon someone that is seemingly lifeless, not breathing, sometimes with an ashen or blue color to them because they have not taken a breath in minutes, and then to administer Narcan and to see them almost instantaneously. Sometimes it takes several doses, as was mentioned earlier, but to see it reverse an overdose is truly an amazing sight to see. What it does is it displaces the opioid from the receptors on the brain. So if If you can think about, a brain with however many number of receptors being overwhelmed by an opioid and every receptor being full, and that's what leads to an overdose. And then you administer a medication that basically pushes it off of the receptor, and then it restores life to that individual. That's how naloxone works. I remember, I don't want to date myself, but in medical school in the late 90s, we had maybe a 5 or 10 minute discussion about Narcan. And at that time, we talked about it being administered in the emergency room setting. So when folks come into the emergency room, if you suspect an overdose, administer intravenous at that point, naloxone. But the reality is, if we wait that long, many people will not make it to the emergency room. So we need to have access in as many places and as many points of contact as possible. I was speaking to a friend of mine. She administered Narcan on the Long Island Railroad. There was an individual that passed out that had overdosed. She was able to save a life. So we never know when we'll have an opportunity to do it. So that's why I applaud the bill that you championed. Really to get naloxone, to get Narcan accessibility everywhere. I'm encouraging faith-based organizations, which historically have sort of shunned this conversation, really to be sites where we can train our congregations that they may be in a position to administer Narcan. And it's very easy to administer. It doesn't take a degree. We can teach someone to do it maybe in a 5 or a 10 minute training session, and you could potentially save someone's life.
Well, I am absolutely one of those who championed it. It happened during my time as a councilman. We made it widespread, and it was a big fight over that, where people were saying we are going to encourage drug addiction. We said, man, we just trying to save some life.
Yeah.
Just trying to save some life. And I understand the need for the faith base. As you may recall, Brother Doctor, I brought up in the First Church of God. Now, Brother Eric, we gonna get this to technology, man. We ain't gonna let this thing separate us, because you got a story worth telling, and this is your moment. How did you get here, brother?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. First of all, Mr. Senator, I would like to thank you and your staff for allowing us to share our story, and for you guys for taking the time and effort to put this together. Mr. White, I would like to thank you also for your foundation and your father's work that has been tremendous, helpful in this environment and for people like us that are addicts. Thank you very much. Well, my story starts, man. I was a working man with a family. Everything started in 2010. I was working with FedEx at that time. Coming out of my job, a lady hit me rear end through the back of my car, and 3 discs out of socket came out. So they had to perform emergency surgery. So everything started right there with prescription pills. And then when no more insurance could cover, I went to the most closest thing that it was heroin. And that's how addiction came to my life, and has been a constantly battle. I've lost everything, Senator. I lost a marriage of 21 years. I got 4 kids, and it's been a very hurtful couple of years, I might say. But I realized that I had to do something about it. I had to face the reality that either I come to a place like this to change, or I was gonna let the destiny rule me out, and which it would have been definitely a death sentence, as we could see how the opioid pandemic has risen more than ever before, and it's very hurtful. But at the end of the day, man, I'm very grateful for JCAP for taking me in, for helping me see something that I didn't saw before in me. And yeah, it's not a pretty road, it will be obstacle like any other road. The most important is not giving up. Once you give up on yourself, it's a different story. And in this journey, I've seen tremendous brothers in here, like the other brothers that have shared their stories. We got a lot of great brothers in here, great staff. We got great staff here, and started with my counsel. My counselor, Mr. Sally, has helped me tremendously to find myself again, Mr. Rashid, Mrs. Rosario. Those are people that we need in this environment. We need more people like this in JCAB and other facilities.
Well, I'm really proud of y'all because I understand that one definition is of a saint is a sinner that fell but got back up.
Absolutely.
And that's what they call a saint. And there, but for the grace of God, go anybody. And nobody should look down because we don't know what tomorrow holds. We we don't we don't know if you'll turn around, Eric or Dan, and I'm in that bed right next to you or whatever. You can't. This is a strange world that we live in. You can't say you made it until it's over. But at the same time, nobody should count you out as long as God got you here. As long as He got you up, then that means He's saying that He believes in you. And that's the only thing that you got to worry about. There's two real voices, really. The voice of God believing in you, and then you accepting that belief. You would saying, okay, if He sees something good in me, then I'm gonna find it. And hitting the bottom. Hey, they say you got to blow $1 million to make $1 million. I'm not encouraging folks to lose everything, mind you, but I am saying in terms of material things, we live in a capitalist society. Man, everything that you want, they didn't just make one of, they made 100,000 of. So if it's the physical things, you can get more of those. And in terms of relationship, well, once you got that relationship with you going, with God going, and then with you, then you leave it into His hands and say, okay, Lord, I would really love to resurrect my relationships. Well, I would love to do this. I'm going to try. I understand the pain I understand some of the pain that I have caused, so I'm not expecting them to just come running and embracing me. I mean, pain is real, and I handle mine wrong. But little by little, most people are looking to see, are you consistent? Are you consistent? They've grown that. Now I know too much of this. Obviously I know a little bit more than I should. In fact, I know a lot more. Remember, I'm coming out of the Rockaway, the edge of the earth, and very few saints came out of the Rockaways. I could point to a whole bunch of sinners, but very few saints. And if they did, I wouldn't have recognized them because I was too busy trying to see if I could outdo my sinning. So under those conditions, folk are looking to see, I've got family members here. Folk are looking to see, are you consistent? Is it just, gonna be a lie here and a lie there? Are you consistent? And little by little by little, folk get a little bit more of an opening, as they deal with the pain. And as we all wrestle with pain. So I'm here to encourage you that as long as the good Lord wakes you up, you got another shot at it.
Amen.
Now, what does the foundation do, Brother White, to aid these fellas and women too? I'm sure y'all got women. What does the foundation do to aid folk?
What we try to do is we try to provide outpatient outreach to the community on a number of issues. And one of the things that we did do is we partnered with the city, and they provided training to members of the AA group that we actually provide support to, the New Spirit AA group that was founded also under JCAP, with training on how to use Narcan. And we continue to do that with each individual class that we have. When they come in, they show them how to use it. And the benefit of that is that now you have people in the household that know that if a member of their family or somebody in their community is having an overdose of opioid, that they will be able to administer the Narcan, as well as call 911 and the other procedures that are needed. So the foundation continues to be, because we used to be JCAP Foundation, but we renamed it after my father in honor of him, continues to be the outreach arm of the program to make sure that people are being educated about substance abuse, alcoholism, and how to overcome, and also how to help the families to deal with addiction in their families of a loved one. So that's how the foundation continues to be supportive of JCAP. We also provide job readiness training that we offer them to bring their clients in to learn how to get back into the workforce. And we also try to provide additional outpatient or outreach to anybody that's looking to have a referral service to a drug treatment program when they can't even get into other programs.
Now, I spoke earlier, and I don't want to assume those bad things. Do y'all work with women?
We work with the entire community, Senator. Women, children. We work with those that are looking for services, those that have been through services. We work with people looking for immigrant services. We work with all different social issues at the foundation, because a lot of times people do not know where to find help. So we're kind of like a referral service, an incubator of helping people to better their lives or get assistance where they need assistance at. We have a computer lab that we do computer classes for, with people that are computer illiterate. Okay, we have training classes. One of the training classes that we do is for porter training. And as you know, in our community right now, we have a great deal of construction jobs going on, where buildings are being built, where the JFK redevelopment project is taking place. And we're trying to get people skills that they need to get jobs. So we work with everybody. We don't discriminate based on race, age, color, gender. We don't do any of that. We try to make sure we are reaching the entire community, and also throughout the tri-state area.
Brother Saqib, you spoke of your own pain now, and you are now a counselor, but you're hearing pain every day. Doesn't that overwhelm you? Why are you doing this, sir?
Honestly, it's a passion, but I am not a counselor yet. I'm trying to go to KSAC school. I am a recovery coach.
Okay, I stand corrected. But why are you doing this, sir?
I get high from helping others. I'm not using drugs and substances anymore, but I get high. It's like I cannot explain it. It's like adrenaline rush. It's passion, seeing others smile, new people that come in, and it reminds me, their story refreshes and always keeps me humble and grounded. And it shows me like truly where I came from as well, and the struggles I face, so I never forget it. Because I could probably do another profession, but I would not enjoy it, and I might forget where I come from, So for me, it makes me feel very happy and humble and grateful that I am allowed to help someone else, because I never thought in my life I would go from an addict to a recovering addict who will help another addict recover, based upon my experiences, my story, and the choices I have made.
Now, I can agree with you, sir. It is a high. One of the biggest highs I've ever had, and I know a little something of this. One of the biggest highs I've ever had is helping people. Is folk who really out of cards and don't know what to do, and it's over for them, or they believe it is. And by the grace of God and hard work, I can figure something out. And man, that is such a high. That will put you in tears, man. That stuff, um, to somebody grabbing you and thanking you, and you're embarrassed at first, and then you're trying to figure, what how do you've already said you're welcome, but they ain't letting go. And then it dawns on you that they really needed you, man. That that you were that lifeline. That is such a high. Uh, the biggest high I've ever had comes from that, from the ability just to. And another one is fighting the power. Man, I get a kick out of going against a system that is determined to oppress people, that is determined to crush folk down, and being able to say to them, no, no, we're not going to stand for this. No, the little guy got to get some too. No, everybody got to eat. You can't take it all. Everybody got to eat. That is, man, is that a high, especially when you win. Just to say no is good, but then if you win that, man, that is that. I mean that. But you are right that the high makes you humble. It doesn't make your head. It's weird that the high makes you humble, where you understand that it's not really you, that this is God working through you, and you say to yourself, "Wow, I was able to do that." It is amazing. You hit on something. I never thought of it as a high, but it absolutely is, and it's addictive.
Yes.
It is addictive. Fighting for people, fighting for the little guy. I mean, not being a bully. I mean, and standing up to folk and say, "Come on now, we could do better than this. Leave that little kid alone." I mean, all of that stuff, trying to live that type of life, uh, you're gonna fail. Failing goes with the territory, but you got to just push yourself back up. And you know, I, I got my own prayer that I pray to God, and my prayer is simple, and I say, I more often than not, I'm saying, God, here I am again. I done messed up shop again. I done messed up shop. Now I need your help, and I know I need your help. You know, God to me doesn't need big flowery words. He doesn't need all of those Latin rites. If you got that, that's good. And if you feel that that's a way, that's fine too. I don't have to pray through anybody. I can go direct. Man, I need to go direct because my stuff I don't want to share. Uh, and well, man, all I can tell you is what works for me. I'm not, I'm not here to. Now, if y'all want to hear the rest of this, y'all need to go to Reverend Collymore's church, and he'll give it to you uncut. But I can only tell you what I have seen work, and what has worked for me. And I have often been out of cards. I could tell you about hunger. I could tell you about eating your last bowl of oatmeal, and you eat it without milk because you ain't got it like that. No butter, no this, no that, no sugar. That is rough. And you eating your last bowl, and you have no idea where the next one's coming. You absolutely have no idea. You're 3 months behind in the rent. You're ducking the landlord. You just ate the last bowl. They said they were going to cut off your lights. And the true story, and right at that time, few minutes later, the lights go out. Now that is all I had strength to do was go lay in the bed. It's a bad round. That's all I had strength to do, go lay down because I am totally out of cards. And in the evening, I had to, go to the bathroom and I remember something that they said in school where they said, how do you know when you rest that all furniture ain't gonna move and all kinds of stuff. And then the answer came to me. And the answer was, we walk by faith, not by sight. We walk by faith, not by sight. And it was explosive as an answer because I knew I was gonna get through this right then because I don't have to understand where the road is. I don't have to have the answers. I just have to know who knows the answers. And that he is looking out for me. And the next morning, I'm up here in the house, I'm about to go out, and a voice, man, I'm losing it. A voice is talking to me. It says, change the socket, remember how they got the fuse, there you go. Change the fuse over there. I said, don't make sense. Con Ed said they cutting me off. They said they cut me off on Friday. It was Friday, they cut me off. The voice said, change the socket. I said, that don't make sense. They said they cut me off. I seen the light go out. It don't make sense. Change the socket. I said, I'm a humor, whoever's out there, this one's for you because I barely got enough faith. I'm changed this stupid thing. And the lights did come on. I can't explain it. The lights came on. I mean, let's be clear, they did cut the lights off on Monday, but I needed this. I needed enough to keep going. By Monday, I was able to handle when they cut off the lights. And I finally went down to my landlord and quit ducking him and told him, look, man, I cannot say when I'm gonna pay you. I had to have that real conversation. But anyway, I'm sorry, I have no idea how we got there. I just felt that it's useful to you. If you find it useful, we walk by faith, not by sight. You don't have to know. We got to stop trying to be so dang smart that we know everything. You don't have to. You just have to know that you know that you know. Oh God! Hey, doctor, save me from myself. I'm way out of my lane, man. I'm not supposed to be here. Now you tell me something about this, what I'm supposed to be talking about, because Brother Thomas didn't help me. He should have saved me from myself. But no, he's gonna let me just keep talking. Save me from myself.
I was gonna let you finish, and then I was gonna say something.
By then it's over, brother. I mean, if I was in court, the judge would say, "All right, you done talk yourself into 30 years."
No. I was just gonna say amen and encourage you to keep on going.
Another 30. Oh man.
But I mean, again, thank you for this opportunity. I think, we're really at a crisis point. The increase in overdose deaths that we saw in 2020 was absolutely astounding. So from 2019 to 2020, there was about a 4% increase in overdose deaths, from about maybe 65,000 up to 70,000. But in 2020, we went up 29.4%, almost 30% increase in overdose deaths from one year to the next. So if we continue at that rate, we're going to continue down this path of really tremendous pandemic proportions that now has affected every community. There was a time when it was primarily communities of color that were only being affected. And now every single demographic within this country is affected. Still disproportionately affects our communities. But we're at a point now where no community, no family, no socioeconomic status is safe from the perils of opioid addiction. So now more than ever, we have to build on the legacy that was set before us. Thomas White Jr. was a visionary. Creating these programs at the time that he did was nothing short of a vision from God. And now we're in a position now to carry that torch forward. And hearing the stories of these three young men here has been truly inspirational for me. I think that's, we talk about getting a high and getting an inspiration, hearing the impact that we're having on these lives, and the fact that now they can go on to impact other lives. That's how we start to have exponential effect. So we're at epidemic proportions. I'm really concerned about what the numbers in 2021 will look like. But I think, again, I just want to echo the sentiment that distribution of Narcan is absolutely the right thing for us to do, in as many settings as we can, so that we can save lives, so that we can give them an opportunity to make that decision to transform and change their life.
Let me show you the high. You spoke of my bill, which is now law. The governor signed my bill, which promotes the use of these antagonists, stopping the opioids, and that will be responsible for saving thousands of lives. Folk who never will know my name, never will know anything about me, and man, and that's a bigger high. When, I mean, the Bible teaches that the biggest blessing is if you could do for folk that they don't even know that you did it, that you've done the widow's mite, that they know nothing of what you did, and you were doing it with nothing coming back to you, just nothing coming back. That's one of the biggest highs that you can get, and the biggest blessing that we can be. I live a life of two phases. On one hand, I do this because I am trying to make amends for the damage that I've caused my community. I do this in part to make amends for these things. Gentlemen, perhaps y'all will know what I'm talking about. But I get a blessing after blessing after blessing, where the more I do, the more I'm blessed. And I mean, I don't deserve it. If you get to the Rockaways and you ask old timers about me, they'll be clear. He don't deserve it. And you know what? I have to join them. They're right. I mean, why lie? They're right. But this is called grace and mercy. This is called God deciding. I mean, he elevates the lowly. He elevates who he wants to elevate. And who am I to say that I won't receive it? I may feel that I don't deserve it, but I will receive it. I will allow him to work through me. So I don't know. I'm just living a blessed life, man. Sir, you wanted to get in here, brother.
Senator, what you're saying, Senator, is very important. It's about making change and taking on responsibility, being an agent to serve your community, which is what most of political officials are supposed to do. And with your bill, along with so many other bills that came before it, I'm a former federal employee. I used to work for the EEOC, and I was educating people about their employment rights. A lot of people don't know what their rights are. People don't know what's available to them. And that's one of the things that I brought to the foundation, is that educating the community about what's available to you, how you can get help, is very important, especially in poor neighborhoods or people that are not getting the information properly. And this forum right here, with your podcast, is going to help in getting that message out. Also, what's available to them. So I applaud you for adding this bill to the state in which you serve for people. So now I can go out and say, and along with Dr. Collymore and the other participants on the call, what's available to us as far as getting Narcan into the hands of the people that need it and educating them how to use it. And that's very important to me. And that's what our mission is. And we can take this forward for you. And I applaud you for what you've done.
Now we've come to the end of the show, and I'm gonna, he carries it with him, and I'm gonna do something different. We gonna do something different. We gonna end in this order, and you can say whatever you want. We're gonna start with Dr. Collymore. We're gonna go to you, Brother White. We're going to go, then let's see. We're gonna, Dan, you thought you were gonna get by? Nah, man, ain't no sliding. Don't man, Eric, don't be laughing at him because you right after him. And then you, my young counselor in training, you are gonna have the last word. So everybody prepare their little minds, get their thoughts right. You see, that's why I always have me a piece of paper and a pen, because I don't want to get caught short. But that's all right. That's all right. Everybody got their last words, and we all gonna speak for around 2 minutes. And then I will try to speak for 2 minutes, which is not very. It's very rare when I'm able to do that, but that's all right. That's all right. A deacon's son, that's a until 16 gonna be a pastor. Well, one step at a time. God ain't finished with me yet. All right, don't smile, doctor. You're up.
Listen, you tell a preacher he has 2 minutes. That's a dangerous thing. But I mean, there's so much that I could say. But I think so much has been said. I think this has really been an inspirational forum. To the communities that we serve in, whether it be as an elected official or as a physician, as a community organizer, and these 3 young men that in short order will be serving in their community too. The message really is to everyone. This opioid addiction is something that affects everyone. All of us have someone that we know of, someone that may be close to us in our families, on our blocks, in our communities, that is suffering. And unless we all work together, we will not make the impact and the change that we need to make. So this is an issue that if we pull together, if we help our brothers, if we help our brothers and our sisters, those that are battling with opioid addiction, we can stem the tide and change the course of what is happening. I would love to see, I don't know where we are in this calendar year yet, but I'm hopeful that at some point we'll start to see a decrease in the number of opioid overdose deaths that we're experiencing annually. But in order to get there, we have to do it together. For those that are in the communities that we serve, at JCAP, you see 3 fine young men here. We have, I think, approximately about 60 or so men in-house at JCAP at this time that are being helped, that are being transformed. We want to help more. So I encourage folks, reach out to Senator Sanders' office. He can connect you to us if you want our contact information directly. We want to be able to help as many families as possible. And what we're doing has generational impact. It started with Thomas White, Jr. and his work. We're carrying that torch on, and we have to continue that work so that all of these families, these men spoke about their children. The generational impact in their children's lives is what we're working to affect. So I'm excited about what we're doing. I'm encouraged anytime I have the opportunity like this to talk about it. There's a lot of work to do, and together we can make it happen. So thank you again for the opportunity to speak. I hope I didn't go too much over the 2 minutes, but and I look forward to the opportunity to have more conversations. There's so many issues affecting our communities that I think we can definitely talk on and educate our communities, enlighten them, and make progress. That's our goal. That's my goal. So personally, professionally, I'm very excited about the work that we're doing and hopeful. To these 3 young men here, I'm probably going to be trying to hire all 3 of them. So that's what we're about, and that's how you change communities. We help them through their addiction. Then we have to employ them. We have to employ people. We have to house individuals, and then that's how we change our community. So thank you again. Looking forward to more in the future.
Thank you. Don't worry about the time. I'm gonna take it from Brother White. Uh, yeah, I'm joking about that, but give my regards to family when you get home. Uh, Sir,
No problem, Senator. My comments are very short, and I've heard a lot today that I'm very proud of to know about what Acacia is doing to preserve the relationship and the tradition of JCAP in the community and in the city. And these young men that I've met today are what JCAP is all about and what my father envisioned. The service that you're getting, the way you feel about yourself, overcoming addiction, passing it on to somebody else is very, very encouraging to me to know that JCAP is still JCAP, and that's important to have in our community. I will want to pass on something to them, the clients and survivors at JCAP. In my office, in my building on Tuskegee Airman Way, I have a poster of my father that has a quote that he used to say to all of his clients. And the quote was, "People who are committed to trying to help themselves are people who are successful." That is what Southeast Queens community is about, helping themselves to be successful. And we want to continue to support JCAP going forward. All the community wants to embrace it because JCAP, as I said earlier, was a program that people trusted and knew that they can get the services that they needed for their loved ones or for themselves. So we're going to need to continue to support JCAP going forward and have the elected officials of supporting it, having the clergy support it, and let them know that JCAP is still here serving those that need help, and that it will continue to be a vital institutional service going forward. Thank you.
thank you. Dan, you up?
First of all, I just want to thank you, Senator, for having me and for kind of just giving back to the community. This was a tough journey, and like I said, I don't wish it upon anybody, but there is hope out there, and I really hope that these young kids out here will understand that route is nothing but pain and death and jails and institutions, and I just really hope that I could have helped someone today, and Dr. White, Mr. White, I just want to thank you for having this program here, just that, because I had no hope left, and this program gave me that, and it's just, and now it's my turn to give it to somebody else, because you can't keep this without giving it away. Thank you.
Wow. I'm gonna write some of that down and say I said it. Go ahead, brother. Tell me about it. Now you gotta unmute and you gotta yell. Don't forget to yell.
First of all, Mr. Senator, thank you. Thank you for taking your time out of your busy schedule, you and your staff. We do appreciate it. Mr. White, thank you, man. Thank you so much for bringing us a place like this for hope, And Mr. David, thank you, man. Thank you for your knowledge, and we need more help like that to let people know that it is a disease. It's not just an addiction. It's more than that. And I would like to thank JCAT, the staff, that yes, we need more improvement in different other aspects. That's why they need help with funds, any help that we could get from our senators out of New York State, man, is grateful, because places like this is what we need. There's a real epidemic out there. There's people that might have no more hope, and they're looking for a way to find a new life. You know what I'm saying? So we love to help. And like for myself, man, I didn't have no hope either. I thought that my life was done. After losing everything that I love, I truly thought that he had no more hope. I found a hope. Yeah, I have obstacles in my way that I still gotta overcome. But having these brothers around me, having a place that I could wake up and feel safe, knowing that there's somebody down here, my counselor, Mr. Sally, that I could go to him at any time and talk to him, and he'll give me back a feedback that it will bring me my spirits up. That's what we need, man. That's exactly what I need. I need people like this to stay around, not only for me, for others that will come through these doors. At one point, they will come through these doors. If we keep Jacob alive, if we can keep helping them with anything that they need, so this place could live and have more memories, more lives to be saved. So once again, I thank all you gentlemen for taking the time and effort, and God bless.
The eloquence is out there. Man, I put you in a bad spot going last, brother.
Mr. Senator, the pleasure was mine. I really appreciate it, for allowing me to share. And I appreciate everyone here, Mr. David, Dr. David Collymore, Mr. Thomas White, continuing the legacy of Mr. White Sr., that was that empowered so many of us and gave us the ability to try, at least just try to help others. Of course, in this process, we are helping ourselves, first and foremost, because I cannot help someone unless, because if I need help myself. So, and you cannot attain knowledge by just keeping it. You must give it away. So I really appreciate it. And there's not enough thanks I can give, It's just the main thing is I always try to be grateful for everything. And the most I can thank someone is my higher power. And worshiping him 5 times a day, it does not even scratch the surface, But it's just, I'm truly humbled and I'm truly grateful for such a beautiful experience. And thank you again, gentlemen. Have a beautiful day. Thank you. God bless.
God bless. Now, there's no way that I could catch the eloquence of the energy and the eloquence that my brothers have done. So I'm gonna just do what little I could do. Now, I am very much at home here because the political person that I follow started out bad. He was an addict. He was a thief. He was a burglar. He was a pimp. He was a pusher. While in prison, he was so bad that the other inmates called him Satan. And his psychiatrist thought that he would never amount to anything. Yet today we know that man is Malcolm X. And he rose from that slime, the pit that he was in, to become one of the greatest leaders that ever lived. And he shows that no matter how far you fall, God can elevate you. Now, to the audience at large, I understand, and I understand our pain, the pain of a community, and there are people doing horrible things to it. But I am reminded that the Bible teaches us to hate the sin but love the sinner. That we need to find a way of separating and understand that when you are an addict, that's not really you. That is you being controlled by all kinds of forces that ain't you. Your pain is driving you, but you're being led to bad places. That ain't you. You are when you break free of that. You are when you are giving back and combating that type of stuff. That's you. And if you really, to the outside audience, if you really want to have something to be mad at, what about the billionaires that created this drug and put it into widespread when they knew that it was addictive, when they knew it was doing bad things to people, and for the love of money, they were just ruining people's lives. The Quran teaches and says that the belly of the rich is never full. And that type of greed that could understand that you are driving people into the gutter, you're breaking families, you're killing people, but for that love of that money that you are willing to do all of these things, it makes me grateful that there is a Hades. That's me speaking, and it shows that I am not a saint. That again, a saint is nothing but a sinner that fell down and managed to get back up. That is what they call a saint. So I encourage you men, all of you, I want you to be pushers, but I think that you should push hope. I think that we need to get out there with the same determination that we had to get the next high, that we should be pushing hope, that we should accept the hope that's coming to us, accept the grace and the mercy that's coming to us, and get out there and tell folk, look, man, I ain't deserve nothing, and I'm getting, so I know it's there for you. I know it's there for you because I don't deserve it. And if you don't believe me, ask my family. They'll tell you I don't deserve. There's a whole bunch of people who will tell you that he don't deserve, and yet the sun shines on the just as well as the unjust. That it just keeps shining, and if it does, he's giving you another day. So I'm really grateful that y'all were kind enough to spend a little time with me and with us. I'm blessed to take your position into the house of power, which is also the house of pain, well, one step at a time, and confront these people and speak with a simple truth that y'all would speak with, and tell them, no, you can't do that. People are hurting. That this is real. These are real people at the bottom of this. This is not just numbers and stuff. This real people that we're robbing, that they deserve. They got dreams too. They got wishes. They got children. They deserve. And I'm blessed to stand up to the powers, and that's not easy. I have to, man. The empire does strike back now. Now let's be clear. They ain't just gonna take that and smile. I spent a lot of time catching lightning rods, but that's fine. That's fine. Long as that day comes in the morning, then he gives me another round. And I encourage you to use your rounds well. It ain't numbered another round. They ain't striking you out till that last bell. You are far from the 15th round. This may be the second round, third round for all you know. And man, and this is a heavyweight fight. We going at least 15, and God in his mercy keeps moving the clock back and gives you more rounds. Just when you think that you counted out, he gave you a couple more. So under those conditions, we deserved, I mean, we might as well make that knockout. We might as well turn this life around and be able to give back and to knock out this drug addiction, knock out our addictive lifestyles, and walk with the grace and mercy that he deserves. And that, if I could get amen from Dr. Collymore, if that is what I'm wishing on all of y'all, to walk in his grace and mercy. A joy to be with y'all.
Amen.
God bless you all.
And amen.